Don't abandon me to freeze. I'll give you a warm bed every night, begged the desperate Apache woman. The wind howled across the icy plains of Cryovale, bending the metal sign of Outpost Solara like a reed in the storm. Snow whipped against the window panes of the small building where a few settlers lived, huddled around heat generators and flickering lights. This planet, far from the core worlds, was not forgiving. It tested every traveler who dared to survive here. Jace Holbrook's boots crunched across the frozen ground as he approached the outpost. His long coat flapped against his legs, its lining worn from years of travel. He was a space ranger, a solitary figure who delivered supplies, messages, and help to scattered settlements across the frontier. Jace preferred solitude. He trusted only the stars above and the engines of his hover sled. But today, something felt off. The outpost's main door creaked as he pushed it open. Inside, the room smelled of metal polish and frozen air, with the faint scent of boiled vegetables from the small kitchen. A few settlers glanced at him but returned to their chores. Jace nodded in greeting, his eyes scanning for the outpost leader. "Marshal Holbrook?" called a small voice. From the corner of the room stepped Naya, a woman in her mid-20s with dark hair tied back in a braid. Her face was pale from cold, and her clothing, though layered, looked thin against the icy wind outside. She clutched a small pack to her chest. Her eyes were wide, searching, desperate. "Please," she began, her voice trembling. "Don't leave me out there in the cold. I can give you a warm bed every night. I'll help around the outpost. I promise." Jace stopped, studying her carefully. He had seen many travelers on Cryovale, and most who pleaded for help carried secrets, or worse. He remained silent, his hands resting near his belt where his tools and gadgets were kept. "I'm Naya," she said quickly, as if the cold wind had stolen all her courage. "My transport, it crashed. I was on my way to the northern settlements. Please, you have to let me stay." The room fell quiet. The settlers watched, curiosity and caution mixing on their faces. Jace could feel the weight of their silent questions pressing on him. Let her in, and he could be risking quarantine violations. Leave her out, and she might not survive the night. "You know the rules," he said finally. His voice was calm, steady, but firm. "Outpost Solara has quarantine laws. Anyone entering must be checked for tech virus contamination. You can't just stay here. I'm not infected," Naya replied, her voice shaking but sincere. "Please, I just need shelter for the night. I can help. I know the machines. Generators, heaters. I can keep the systems running." Jace's eyes narrowed. Her words were confident, but there was a hint of desperation he could not ignore. "Machines, huh?" he asked. "You claim you can fix the generators? Have you done it before?" Yes," Naya said quickly. "On my home planet, I help maintain the energy systems for my settlement. I know what to do in emergencies. Please, I can help you." He studied her, silent. The wind outside continued to howl, rattling the building. Even through the reinforced walls, the cold found a way to seep in. Jace knew that in a few hours the temperature would drop so low that someone unprepared could freeze in minutes. "All right," he said finally. "You can stay. But I'm warning you. One wrong move, and you'll be out before morning." "And I'll be watching." Naya's face lit up with relief. She bowed slightly, almost reverently. "Thank you, Marshal. You won't regret it." The settlers watched as Jace led her to a small room at the back of the outpost. Naya's movements were careful, measured, but she seemed capable. She set down her pack and immediately began checking the heater and power systems. Jace watched her work, noting her calmness, her knowledge. She wasn't lying, she really could help. After ensuring she was settled, Jace stepped outside for a moment. The wind slapped his face, icy needles cutting at his skin. He scanned the horizon. The snow stretched endlessly, broken only by jagged metal ruins and the faint lights of distant settlements. Cryovale was beautiful in a cold, harsh way, but it was unforgiving. Even the strongest machines could fail in its storms, and even the smartest travelers could get lost in the white. Returning inside, Jace found Naya sitting near the heater, hands wrapped around a mug of warm tea. She looked up and smiled faintly. "It's warmer in here than outside," she said softly. "Good," he replied, sitting across from her. "You'll need that energy if we're going to survive the storm tonight." "Something tells me this isn't just any storm. It's unusual." Naya frowned. "Unusual?" Jace nodded. "I've been coming to Cryovale for years. The weather here is harsh, yes, but predictable. Tonight, it feels unnatural. Too much wind, too much ice in the air, almost like something is pushing it this way." Her eyes widened. Something pushing the storm? He shrugged. Could be nothing. Could be something. His voice trailed off. He didn't like to admit uncertainty, but he could feel it in his bones. This storm was different. For the rest of the evening, they worked together to reinforce the outpost's systems. Naya moved quickly, checking generators, securing doors, and ensuring the heat was stable. Jace was impressed, not just by her knowledge, but by her calmness under pressure. She worked like someone who had survived worse. Outside, the wind raged. The snow swirled into blinding clouds, wrapping the outpost in a frozen embrace. Inside, the small room was warm, lit by flickering lamps and humming machinery. The settlers gathered around the fire, drinking hot broth and listening to the storm. Jace and Naya sat in the corner, quietly observing the outpost. A sense of cautious camaraderie grew between them. Neither spoke much, but the silence was comfortable, broken only by the occasional click of Naya's tools or the roar of the wind outside. Hours passed. The storm did not let up. In fact, it seemed to grow stronger, as if Cryovale itself were testing their resolve. Jace finally spoke. "You're lucky you made it here," he said quietly. "Most travelers caught in storms like this don't survive." Naya's gaze met his. "I know. I wouldn't have made it without your outpost, without your trust." He nodded. "Trust is earned."
"You've done well so far."
"But don't think I'll go easy on you just because the night is long." She smiled faintly. "I wouldn't expect that." Outside, the storm continued its relentless dance, but inside the outpost was safe. Warmth and light pushed back against the cold, and for a brief moment the frozen world of Cryovale seemed less harsh. Jace leaned back in his chair, watching Naya move among the settlers, answering questions, checking systems, and offering small comforts. She was more than just a traveler in need. She was clever, resourceful, and brave. And for the first time in many months, Jace felt something he had not felt in a long while. Hope. Somewhere beyond the walls of Outpost Solera, in the heart of the storm, a faint glow pulsed beneath the ice. Neither Jace nor Naya noticed it yet. But the storm was not natural. Cryovale held secrets, and tonight they had only begun to uncover them. The wind howled outside, but inside, two strangers had found warmth, safety, and perhaps the beginning of a partnership that could change their lives forever. And as the night stretched on, Jace realized one thing. Survival was not just about enduring the cold. Sometimes it was about trusting the right person to share your fire. The storm outside Outpost Solara showed no sign of letting up. Snow whipped against the reinforced walls like a living creature, bending metal supports and rattling the windows. Yet inside, the outpost remained warm, a small beacon of light in the endless white wasteland. Jace Holbrook and Naya sat at a table near the central heater, maps and datapads spread before them. The faint hum of the outpost's generators was comforting, though the glow of the lamps flickered with the strain of maintaining power in the harsh storm. "I've been studying the weather patterns," Jace said, tapping a finger against a digital map of Cryovale. "Storms this strong are unusual. Too concentrated in this region, too persistent. Something is making it worse than normal." Naya leaned over, her braid brushing her shoulder. "Do you think it's natural?" He shook his head. "I don't know. But it doesn't feel natural. The wind, the ice, they move like they have a mind of their own. It's almost as if the planet is—" Naya frowned. "Awake?" "Exactly," he said. "And if we don't understand what's causing it, the settlers out there won't survive long." He gestured to the map. "I think the answer lies in the old Apache research station, near the northern ridge. It's abandoned, but it's where they studied Cryovale's unusual energy patterns decades ago. If anything can help us understand the storm, it's there." Naya's eyes lit up. "I know the station. I can guide you." "I can keep you safe." Jace hesitated. The journey would be dangerous. The storm was relentless, and the tundra was filled with hidden dangers. Deep fissures, sudden ice slicks, and unstable patches where the snow could collapse. But Naya's knowledge was valuable, and deep down, he trusted her. "All right," he said finally. "We leave at first light. We'll take the hover sleds and pack only what we need. Efficiency is key in this storm." The night passed slowly. Jace kept one eye on the monitors, ensuring the generators stayed stable. Naya moved through the outpost, double-checking systems and gathering supplies for the journey. By dawn, both were exhausted, but the storm showed no mercy. Thick gray clouds hung low in the sky, and the wind shrieked like a living thing. They stepped outside, their coats zipped tightly, boots crunching in the fresh snow. The hoversleds waited, engines humming softly despite the cold. Naya climbed onto the first sled, her movements precise and confident. Jace followed, strapping himself in and testing the controls. "Hold on tight," he said. "The storm will try to push us off course." The sleds lifted, hovering inches above the snow, and they began to move across the frozen plain. The world outside was a blur of white, wind, and ice. Visibility was low, but Naya's eyes darted constantly, spotting safe paths and warning Jace of hidden cracks in the ice. Hours passed in tense silence. The storm seemed alive, pressing against them from all sides. The wind carried strange echoes like distant whispers, but the source was unclear. Jace tightened his grip on the controls, adjusting the sled to stay steady. "You've been here before, haven't you?" he asked, finally breaking the silence. Naya nodded. "My family used to live near the northern ridge. I know the paths, the safe spots, where the ice is stable and where it isn't. That knowledge kept us alive for generations." Jace glanced at her, noting the calm determination in her eyes. "It's impressive. Most people would panic in this weather," she shrugged. "Panic doesn't help. You have to think, move, survive. That's what I've always done." The storm intensified as they approached a ridge of jagged ice cliffs. Visibility dropped to almost nothing. Jace slowed the sled, careful not to tip over on hidden slopes. Naya guided him with precise instructions, her voice calm over the sled's intercom. "No, back, steady, slow," she said. Each word was measured, a lifeline in the white chaos. They reached a wide fissure, a deep crack in the ice that ran like a scar across the landscape. The sled could not cross it. Jace sighed. "We'll have to go around it." "Follow me," Naya said, hopping off the sled and moving carefully along a narrow path between two ice cliffs. Her footsteps were sure and deliberate. Jace followed, his heavy boots crunching on the snow. The sleds remained behind, waiting for them to guide a safe crossing point. As they moved, the wind carried a faint, strange hum, almost musical. Naya froze. "Do you hear that?" she asked. Jace listened. There it was, a low, rhythmic pulse beneath the wind. It was subtle, almost hidden, but unmistakable. "It's coming from beneath the ice," Naya said, her voice low. "The old station. It's near a source of energy that's still active." Jace frowned. "Energy? What kind of energy?" "Ancient technology," she replied. "Not human, not from this planet. My ancestors discovered it long ago. They studied it, tried to control it, but they had to leave when the storms grew too strong." Jace's curiosity sparked. "You mean the storm is connected to this technology?" "I don't know for sure," she admitted, "but the energy pulses. It reacts to the weather, and tonight, it's angry." They continued along the narrow path, eventually reaching a plateau overlooking the vast ice valley. At its center, partially buried in snow, was the old Apache research station. Its metal walls were rusted, paint peeling, but the shape was unmistakable, circular, with a tall antenna that still glowed faintly with energy. Jace scanned the surroundings. "We'll need to land the sleds carefully." "The ice here is thin," Naya nodded. "Follow my lead. Step where I step. Trust me." They guided the sleds down carefully, placing them on stable patches of ice. Every movement was deliberate, every step measured. The wind screamed, but inside the narrow canyon, the station offered some shelter. Once inside, warmth from the old power generators, miraculously still functional, welcomed them. Naya moved quickly, checking circuits and adjusting the energy flow. Sparks of light danced across panels as the systems hummed to life. "This station is amazing," Jace said. "Even abandoned, it's still running." Naya smiled faintly. "It was designed to last. My ancestors made sure of that, and it's why we're still alive out here." Hours passed as they explored the station. They found old logs and records, detailing experiments with energy fields, climate control, and even attempts to manipulate weather patterns. Some of the technology was alien, far beyond human understanding, pulsing with energy that seemed alive. "Look at this," Naya said, pointing to a console that glowed with soft blue light. "This system can stabilize the storm. If we can understand it, we can protect the settlements." Jace examined the console, carefully touching the holographic panels. "It's complicated, but I think we can manage. We'll need time, though, and we'll need to stay awake until the storm passes." Naya nodded. "We'll manage. Together." Outside, the storm raged. Ice and snow whipped against the station walls, but inside, warmth and light surrounded them. Jace felt a strange sense of peace amidst the chaos. He had trusted Naya to guide him through the storm, and she had not failed. As the night deepened, the strange pulsing beneath the ice grew stronger. The station's alien energy interacted with the storm, and for a moment it seemed as if the wind itself responded to the hum of the machine. Jace looked at Naya. There's something here, something alive. Not human, not animal, but it's here, and it's powerful. She nodded. We have to understand it. If we can control it, we can protect everyone. If we fail... Her voice trailed off. He knew what she meant. Cryovale was beautiful, but unforgiving, and the storm was only the beginning. Hours later, exhaustion began to creep in. They sat side by side near the warmest corner of the station, sipping hot tea from a small replicator. You saved my life, Jace said quietly. And you saved mine, Naya replied. They shared a quiet moment, listening to the hum of the station and the roar of the storm outside. For a brief time, the frozen wilderness seemed less threatening, but deep beneath the ice, the energy pulsed stronger. Something was waking, and both Jace and Naya knew that tomorrow, their real challenge would begin. For now, though, they had survived the journey, and for two strangers in a frozen world, that was enough. The morning light on Cryvale was faint, almost ghostly, filtered through the heavy clouds of the lingering storm. Outside the Apache research station, snow swirled endlessly, a relentless white sea, but inside, the station hummed with warmth, lights glowing softly along the metal walls. Jace Holbrook rubbed his eyes and stretched. The warmth of the station was a strange comfort, and after the night on the frozen tundra, it felt almost miraculous. Naya was already at a control console, moving her hands across holographic panels with precision. Sparks of soft blue and green light flickered over her focused face. The storm is still strong, she said without looking up. But if we can reactivate the station's main systems, we can stabilize it. At least locally. Jace joined her, studying the panels. It's advanced, he said. Far beyond anything I've seen. Do you understand all of it? She shook her head slightly. Not all. Some of it is alien technology, older than human settlement on this planet. But the principles are clear. The energy responds to the storm. It listens. Almost. He raised an eyebrow. Listens? It reacts, she explained. When the wind grows too strong, when the ice shifts, the system pulses back. If we can guide it, we can protect the settlements from the worst of the weather. We just need to understand its rhythm. Jace took a deep breath. All right, let's try it. Together they moved through the station, examining terminals, checking circuits, and following the faint energy pulses that ran beneath the floor. Naya pointed out old annotations left by her ancestors. Notes about stabilizing fields, channeling energy, and even minor attempts to communicate with the alien source. It's incredible, Jace said, crouching to inspect a panel. They were studying it, learning from it, without knowing its full purpose. And it's still here, waiting. Naya nodded. It's why I wanted to bring someone here who could think logically and act fast. The energy is powerful, but delicate. A single wrong adjustment could make the storm worse. Hours passed as they explored deeper into the station. They found an observation room overlooking a cavernous expanse beneath the ice. Cracks in the ice glowed faintly with a blue light, the alien energy seeping through the frozen layers. The hum that had been faint yesterday was now a steady pulse, like a heartbeat. It's beautiful, Jace whispered, staring at the light. Like the planet itself is alive. It's more than alive, Naya said softly. It's aware, not like a person, not like an animal, but aware. It reacts to its surroundings, to energy, to intention. Jace frowned. Intention? Yes, she replied. If we approach it carefully, with thought and focus, it responds. If we act recklessly, it resists. That's why my ancestors failed. They tried to control it with machines alone. They didn't think about understanding it. Jace looked at her impressed. So we have to cooperate with it? Naya nodded. Exactly. It's not ours to control. It's ours to understand. They began testing the station's interface. Naya instructed Jace on the sequence of panels and energy nodes. Each adjustment caused the pulsing glow beneath the ice to respond. It started slowly, small flickers of light along cracks, slight changes in the hum, but gradually patterns emerged. The energy seemed to flow along channels, almost like rivers beneath the ice. Look, Naya said, pointing to the observation screen. It's stabilizing the local storm. The wind is less intense, the snow isn't as chaotic. We're making progress. Jace smiled faintly. This is amazing. We're actually helping the planet breathe a little easier. For a while, they worked in focused silence, occasionally exchanging notes or adjusting settings. The hours passed quickly, though exhaustion began to weigh on them. They took short breaks, drinking warm tea from the replicator, sharing quiet conversations about life beyond Cryovale. You know, Jace said, leaning back in his chair, I've traveled countless planets, helped countless settlements, but I've never seen anything like this. Not the technology, not the energy, nothing. Naya smiled faintly. Cryovale has always been special. My people respected it. They survived by listening to the planet, not by forcing it to obey. Jace nodded. I think I understand why you wanted to come here so badly. She looked at him, her expression softening. It's more than survival. It's connection. The planet, the energy, the storms, they teach you things about patience, about trust, about cooperation, and about understanding yourself. As the day wore on, the storm outside began to lessen. The station's adjustments caused changes in the atmosphere, slowing the wild wind and reducing the heavy snowfall. For the first time since arriving on Cryovale, Jace could see the horizon through the observation windows. Pale sunlight reflected off the frozen ice, and the planet's beauty was revealed. But the energy beneath the ice pulsed stronger than ever. Jace and Naya could feel it through the floor panels, a subtle vibration that made the air itself feel alive. It was both thrilling and intimidating. Do you think it's safe? Jace asked. For now, Naya replied, but it's growing. Whatever is beneath the ice, it's aware of us, and it's learning from our actions. Suddenly the lights flickered. Panels blinked as the energy reacted to a spike in the storm. A low hum filled the room, rising in pitch and intensity. Naya moved quickly, adjusting nodes and recalibrating the system. Careful, she said, voice calm but urgent. It's testing us. It wants to see if we understand the pattern. Jace followed her instructions precisely, adjusting energy flow and rerouting power through secondary channels. Slowly, the hum stabilized. The lights returned to their soft glow, the panels no longer flickering. It's accepting us, Naya whispered. It trusts us, for now. Jace nodded, feeling a mix of awe and relief. This is incredible. We're not just surviving, we're cooperating with something that's almost alive. Hours later, exhaustion overtook them. They sat near the heater, sipping warm tea. The station hummed gently, the energy pulses beneath the ice, synchronized with the stabilized storm outside. For a moment, everything felt calm, safe, almost like a home. You saved the station, Jace said quietly. You saved the energy. You saved us. Naya shook her head. We did it together. That's the point. The energy responds to cooperation, not control. Alone, we would have failed. He looked at her, realizing how much he had underestimated the young Apache woman. Her courage, intelligence, and patience had made all the difference. They spent the rest of the evening exploring the station further. They found small living quarters, old food stores, and messages left by past researchers. Each discovery revealed more about the planet and the ancient energy that pulsed beneath it. The station was a bridge between human ingenuity and alien mystery, a place where the impossible was possible. As night fell again on Cryovale, the storm fully receded, leaving only a soft flurry of snow. The glow beneath the ice continued, steady and rhythmic, like a heartbeat. Jace and Naya sat together, watching it, feeling the warmth and safety that the station provided. You know, Jace said, I never expected to find something like this on Cryovale. I never expected to find connection, even out here, in the middle of nowhere. Naya smiled. Connection is everywhere if you know how to look for it. With the planet, with each other, even with the energy itself. Jace nodded slowly, feeling a sense of peace he hadn't felt in years. They had faced the storm, survived the journey, and begun to understand something extraordinary. But deep beneath the ice, the energy pulsed with a quiet strength, a reminder that Cryovale still held secrets yet to be revealed. For now, though, they had warmth, safety, and the knowledge that together they could face whatever came next. And as the night stretched on, the glowing light beneath the ice seemed to pulse in rhythm with their own hearts, a quiet promise that the planet was watching, listening, and perhaps guiding them. The soft glow from the alien energy beneath Cryovale's ice pulsed steadily as dawn broke across the frozen horizon. Outside, the storm had finally subsided, leaving a quiet white expanse dotted with sparkling ice crystals. For the first time in days, the world seemed still. Yet inside the Apache research station, tension filled the air as Jace, Holbrook, and Naya prepared for their most important task, stabilizing the energy fully and ensuring the settlements would be safe from future storms. Jace adjusted the control panels while Naya monitored the energy flows on the observation screen. The hum beneath their feet was strong, steady, and alive, but its rhythm had changed subtly. It was reacting not just to the station, but to them, measuring their intentions, their focus, their care. "Do you think it's ready?" Jace asked, eyes scanning the glowing maps of energy channels. Naya hesitated. "I don't know. It's always been cautious. But we've earned its trust mostly. Now we just have to guide it, not force it. Remember, it responds to cooperation." He nodded. Cooperation, not control. Together they began the delicate process. Naya instructed Jace on the energy nodes, showing him which channels to adjust and which frequencies to harmonize. The system was intricate, almost like a giant living web beneath the ice, connecting fissures, caverns, and channels of energy. As they worked, the station hummed, lights flickering softly as the energy pulsed in response. Outside they could hear the faint whistle of the wind across the ice, almost as if the planet itself were listening, waiting to see if they would succeed. "This is it," Naya said quietly. "If we do this right, Cryovale can have a stable climate, at least locally. The settlements can survive. People can live here without fearing every storm." Jace adjusted a control node carefully. "And if we do it wrong?" She shook her head. "We just have to trust the rhythm. If we push too hard, it will resist. If we pull gently, it will guide us." The next hours were a delicate dance. They adjusted nodes, monitored feedback, and carefully aligned the pulses of energy with the natural rhythm of the ice. Every misstep caused a flicker, a momentary surge in the hum beneath their feet, but each correction brought it closer to harmony. As they worked, Naya shared more of her knowledge about the planet. "Cryovale has always been alive in ways humans don't fully understand. My people learned to read the ice, listen to the wind, and respect the pulse beneath our feet. That's why we survived here when others failed." Jace nodded, impressed. "You've taught me a lot. I've traveled many worlds, but I've never met anyone who understands a planet like you do." She smiled faintly. "You're learning. That's what matters." Gradually, the energy beneath the ice began to glow more steadily, the pulses synchronized in a calm, rhythmic pattern. The hum that had once been erratic was now harmonious, almost musical. The station lights reflected off the ice, creating a soft, shimmering glow across the observation windows. "Look," Naya whispered, pointing at the screen. "The fissures, the ice channels, they're stabilizing. The storm won't rebuild. The settlements will be safe." Jace leaned forward, watching the readings. "We did it. We actually did it." They exchanged a quiet smile. The weight of their work settled over them, a mixture of relief and awe. They had survived the storm, navigated the frozen wilderness, and now guided Cryovale's ancient energy to protect the people living on its surface. Suddenly, a soft beeping came from the station's communication console. Jace approached and opened the link. On the screen were small figures moving across the snow. A settlement scout team had survived the storm and was reporting back. Their faces were filled with gratitude and wonder. "They're safe," Jace said quietly, a rare smile forming on his face. Naya exhaled, relief flooding her features. "We did it," she said softly. "Not just for us. For everyone out there." The two of them moved to the observation windows, looking out at the horizon. The frozen plains glimmered under the morning sun, the ice reflecting the calm, stabilized energy beneath. Cryovale had survived the storm. Humans could survive here too, if they learned to respect the planet as Naya had taught. Jace turned to her. "You were right. Trusting, understanding, cooperating, it worked. And it's more than that. We make a good team." "We do. And there's more to learn. The planet still has secrets. The energy still holds knowledge that even my ancestors didn't fully uncover." Jace chuckled softly. "Then I guess our work isn't finished. But we've earned a night of rest first." Naya nodded, moving to the small quarters they had prepared in the station. She gestured toward the warm beds. "You'll take the one nearest the window. I'll keep watch over the systems." He raised an eyebrow. "You're staying awake?" "Just a little," she said. "I want to make sure everything continues smoothly." "But you rest. You've earned it." That night, Jace slept deeper than he had in months. Outside, Cryovale was calm for the first time in days. Inside, the warmth of the station and the quiet hum of alien energy created a feeling of safety and comfort. When he awoke, he found Naya at the console, sipping hot tea. The morning light spilled across the floor, soft and golden. The storm was gone, replaced by a quiet, sparkling expanse of ice and snow. "You rested well?" Naya asked, glancing up. "I did," Jace admitted. "And I feel ready for whatever comes next." Naya smiled. "Good. Because Cryovale has more for us. But for now, look outside." Jace stepped to the window. Scouts were returning from nearby settlements, waving, calling greetings. The stabilized energy had calmed the climate enough for people to move safely. Small groups were walking carefully across the snow, checking supplies, laughing softly, relieved to survive the storm. "They're safe," Jace said again, his voice full of awe. "And they'll thrive," Naya added, "now that they understand, even a little, how to work with the planet instead of against it." The two of them stood together in the warm observation room, watching as Cryovale's frozen plains transformed from a place of danger to a land of possibility. The alien energy beneath the ice pulsed steadily, a quiet heartbeat connecting them all. Jace turned to Naya. "You saved more than lives here. You saved hope. We did it together, and tomorrow we explore more. The energy has much to teach, and we have much to learn." He smiled. "I like the sound of that. I've traveled across countless worlds, faced many challenges, but this is something different, something worth staying for." Naya nodded. "Then stay. Let's continue this journey together. There's more to see, more to understand, and more to protect." Outside, the sun reflected off the frozen ice in a million sparkling patterns, casting the landscape in soft gold and silver. Cryovale was still harsh, still unpredictable, but it was alive, beautiful, and full of secrets. And now, with two people who understood it, the planet's future looked brighter. Jace and Naya stood side by side, feeling the warmth of the station, the steady pulse beneath their feet, and the endless possibilities stretching before them. They had survived storms, learned from the planet, and discovered a partnership built on trust, cooperation, and courage. And as Cryovale glimmered in the morning light, the alien energy beneath the ice pulsed gently, as if approving, as if promising that together they could face anything the frozen frontier had in store. In that moment, two strangers became allies, friends, and something more. The journey across Cryovale's frozen plains was far from over, but for the first time it felt safe, hopeful, and warm. And so on the edge of a frozen world, a new chapter began, not just for Jace and Naya, but for all who dared to call Cryovale home.